comical. Like, he puts pressure on guys without throwing too many punches, and then starts to figure holes out, and the way he can explode and move in with one shot, my God.
Yeah, he very explosive. He's very explosive, man.
Wasn't for this music, I'd probably be dead.
Shakur sees that. He's anticipating something to come. He knows he's going to explode in. So what does Shakur do? Teo takes a big step in. Shakur takes a big step back. You know, again, always understanding because he has great eyes. You know, great eyes, understands boxing very well and movements.
Joe Rogan reacted with surprise to Shakur Stevenson's noticeably built physique ahead of his fight with Teofimo Lopez. He praised Stevenson's distinctive defensive approach and overall skill set, describing them as exceptional. Rogan also pointed out that Shakur's elite conditioning enhances both his movement and power in the ring, setting him apart as a truly special athlete.
Since Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
His defense was incredible.
Yeah. Defense, and he stayed, and that guy was putting the guy from Golden Boy, I can't remember his name, who he fought, but was just a good fighter and was really pressuring him. And Shakur stayed in the pocket.
Yeah,
he stayed in the pocket.
He also said he's not
calling him a runner before.
Anymore.
He's not a runner. Yeah,
but he said after that fight, I'm not going to fight that way anymore. He said I took too many shots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he wanted to like put on a show and show everybody he's not just a runner. He could stand in the pocket. Right. Then he's like, why am I doing this? I'll box the shit out of these motherfuckers.
Yeah. I mean, he's a silver medalist, that guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's elite. He's elite. Yeah. And just one of the best, like, as far as...
Shakur Stevenson's team has shown exceptional focus and discipline as he prepares for upcoming bouts. Each training session is deliberately designed to sharpen his defense, speed, and overall skill set. His coaches place heavy emphasis on precision, conditioning, and strategic execution, making sure he's ready for any challenge that comes his way. This commitment shows not only in his physical conditioning, but also in his mental strength, reinforcing his reputation as a dangerous opponent and a true professional in the ring. Tim Bradley analyzed the upcoming matchup by highlighting the sharp contrast in styles between Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. He explained that Lopez depends on explosive, twitch-based movements to generate serious power, often using a brief pause before unleashing sudden, forceful attacks. Bradley compared that rhythm to the way Roy Jones Jr. used speed and precision to close distance quickly. Stevenson, by contrast, thrives on distance control and positioning, using footwork to restrict his opponent's options and set the tempo of the fight. Bradley stressed that movement will be a key factor, as Stevenson's ability to stay balanced and anticipate attacks could neutralize Lopez's explosiveness. This clash between agility and raw power is what makes the fight so compelling, showcasing Stevenson's defensive intelligence against Lopez's speed and sudden offensive bursts.
The feet is what gets you in position to be able to land those shots. You know, footwork is extremely important. When I look at both these guys, and I look at Shakur's footwork, I look at Teo's footwork, and what I noticed about Teo's footwork in particular is that in order to be able to throw with the amount of power that he has, you know, I've noticed with Teo, there's always a subtle pause before he actually explodes. And Teo's a guy that likes to explode into contact, like to explode into his opponents, man, to land his offense. You know, fast, you know, twitchy type muscles, you know, fibers. You know, he's extremely fast. You know, some may say that, you know, his twitchiness kind of reminds him of like Roy Jones type of, you know, movements, how quick he's able to close that distance on his opposition. However, he's in there with a guy that is a master at controlling distance. That's like he's a master at literally, you know, getting in his position, right, in the position where he wants to be and taking away your positioning. And with doing so, he takes away your feet, you know, and that's why I think feet are going to be extremely important in this. You know, if you can keep your opponent off balance, For instance, let me just give you an example. It's like Teo explodes. There's a subtlety before he explodes with his offense. And as soon as Shakur sees that, he's anticipating something to come. He knows he's going to explode in. So what does Shakur do? Teo takes a big step in, Shakur takes a big step back. You know, again, always understanding because he has...
Ryan Garcia has confidently picked Shakur Stevenson to win his upcoming fight, citing Stevenson's speed, defensive ability, and ring IQ as decisive advantages. He believes Shakur's calmness under pressure and ability to adjust mid-fight make him a difficult matchup for anyone, including Teofimo Lopez. According to Garcia, Stevenson's blend of agility, accuracy, and tactical awareness gives him a clear edge, and if he sticks to his game plan, a victory is well within reach.
We need some real boxing guys in this thing.
Yo, who you got, Shakur or Teo?
I got Shakur Stevenson beat him.
You got Shakur? You don't think Teo's gonna win?
Nah, bro. Nah.
Damn, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I got
crazy.
Teo too, bro.
You guys got Teo? How much you guys want to bet, bro?
Yeah, I got Teo.
How much you guys want to bet anytime?
Bet, bro. I don't got money compared to you.
Nah, I'll bet. Hey, I'll bet in your tax bracket, bro.
100. Let's do 100.
I'll bet 100, bro. Let's
bet 100.
Shakur Stevenson is facing increased scrutiny ahead of his matchup with Teofimo Lopez, with some observers questioning his game plan and recent performances. Critics argue that his resume may not be as deep as that of certain peers, especially when compared to fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis, whose blend of size, speed, and power has been proven against elite competition. While Stevenson is widely respected, some feel that recent opponents, such as Zepeda, did not represent top-tier tests, and wins over them don't carry the same weight. That Stevenson's style is built around defense and distance management, but there are concerns that against a fast, powerful fighter like Lopez, relying too heavily on avoidance could limit his impact. Some believe he may focus on maintaining space rather than pressing the action, potentially turning the fight into a contest of stamina and timing rather than sustained defense. Even so, Stevenson's skill set and defensive excellence are undeniable. This matchup will ultimately determine whether his calculated approach can hold up against Lopez's explosiveness and raw power. The outcome remains uncertain, but the intrigue surrounding this fight is undeniable.
Hoisting up Shakur Stevenson, his resume is not really that deep if we're really being fair. And I would challenge y'all to compare it to Gervonta Tank Davis's resume and then really look at who they were, look at Tank's frame, look at Shakur's frame, and tell me what looks to be more special. But here you got Shakur being hoisted up and praised nonstop, but then a lot of the same analysts, when they talk about Tank, they're like, oh, man, Tank's disappointing and Tank needs to fight someone and his resume's not that good. Who on Shakur's resume is just this world beater? People always talk about, oh, Tank don't have Hall of Famers and don't have good fighters. Ryan Garcia is a dangerous fight. He has one of the best left hooks in the game. He was undefeated. Undefeated fighters could be stubborn, and he's definitely bigger than Tank. Even Shakur, he would probably be bigger than Shakur, but it would at least be closer. So for me, it is more impressive seeing the smaller guy like Tank produce that type of punch and power and being there with the giants and guys like Frank Martin. To me, I would rather have seen Shakur, Frank Martin, like they were supposed to fight, but it fell apart over money, than the fight with Zepeda. Especially, like I said, Zepeda coming off 2 performances where he arguably lost both, if not one of them, and was exposed and dropped in the fight. You know, Teofimo, I think that's a good name for Shakur Stevenson, but the fight hasn't happened yet. So we have to see what it is. But all this talk about Zepeda being, who was that good? Robinson Conceição really should have lost to O'Shaquie Foster. They rematched and then he did lose. He's cool. And he lost to Valdez before Shakur fought him. And Shakur missed weight.
Shakur Stevenson says his drive comes from constantly wanting to test his limits. He has no interest in taking easy fights. Instead, he seeks opponents who push him both physically and mentally. Every bout is an opportunity to refine his skills, study different styles, and prove his adaptability under pressure. That competitive mindset fuels his discipline in training and his focus on strategy, making sure he's ready for whatever unfolds in the ring. For Stevenson, success isn't defined solely by wins, but by his ability to rise to challenges and continue growing as a fighter. This commitment to facing tough competition keeps him evolving, turning each fight into a step toward becoming stronger, sharper, and more versatile in the sport.
I think I'm gonna capitalize off those mistakes.
But bro, what is it about you that has you, looking at a fighter that you know is the truth and then saying, I want to fight him? It seems like it should be normal if you're a fighter, right? But that stuff is dying off in the game right now. And I feel like you one of the last of the dying breed that actually want real challenges.
Yeah, I'm competitive, bro. So it's like, I want to be the best. So when I see certain guys out there, and I seen Tio his last fight, I was there front row, and I'm like, damn, this dude is like, he like a baby Roy. Like, he like doing things with his hands down, flashy. And I thought it was cool. So it kind of made me want to get in a ring with him and see if he could do them things against my style.
Your last fight was against William Zepeda in July, and you fought a totally different way. It wasn't the easiest way or the best way to fight, but I think it was good for you and your development because it not only sent a message to the rest of the division, one up, your division at that time, and then the one above you, but it sent a message to the fans. But I think it also did something for you to prove to yourself that, man, listen, that wasn't like my best performance, but I showed you I can get it out the mud. What did that performance kind of do for you now that you look back at it?
Honestly, I think like styles-wise, I think that Zepeda's style is the style that's supposed to give me the most trouble. Like, guys that box and give me time to think is the guys that's gonna have a fit with me all night. But the guys who press me and put me against some ropes and throw a million punches, that's the style that's supposed to give me trouble. So I went out there and I prevailed against that style, and now I'm fighting against a boxer, which for me, it just makes it more fun. I don't have to deal with a guy that's trying to like wear me down so much.
Right.
So now I gotta play chess. I gotta do what I do best, play chess. So
Shakur Stevenson's sense of responsibility inside the ring separates him from many fighters. He approaches training and competition with discipline, fully aware that every decision he makes influences the outcome. However, a matchup with Teofimo Lopez presents a unique test. Lopez's speed is a serious threat, one capable of disrupting even the most precise defensive systems, so Stevenson cannot afford any complacency. Every punch, feint, and movement from Lopez requires complete focus and quick adjustments. While Shakur's skill set and defensive instincts are elite, speed can create openings that even the best-laid plans may overlook. Success in this fight will come from balancing discipline with adaptability, staying sharp, reacting in real time, and respecting Lopez's pace while executing his own strategy. Accountability, in this case, must translate into controlled, effective action rather than confidence turning into complacency.
Will rise to the occasion and be prepared for that fight. So I feel like Shakur has to keep that fight in the middle of the ring, use his counter ability. But if Teo's speed is a problem, I think Shakur is going to run into a lot of problems. But if Shakur is the faster fighter with the good reflexes to counter, he'll be fine, I think. But, Teo says a lot of crazy things that, a lot of us don't agree with. But at the end of the day, the dude can fight. His last performance, showed him that there's levels to this, right? Lopez is on a whole different, I'll say, category when it comes to boxing that Shakur's at. I think this is a great fight. I'm gonna go ahead and give my prediction. If these two fight, it's gonna be kind of like a Floyd versus Zab Judah-ish, or I'm gonna say Zab Judah. I know Zab Judah is a different fighter than Lopez, but I think what's going to happen is going to become a chess match. Who can counter who? Lopez, I think, will get hit early and start respecting Shakur's power. I think Shakur will keep everything to the middle of the ring and be able to adjust with his movements, his counter ability, and his defense. Like, he's able to make those adjustments that are very similar to Floyd. So I'm going to go with Shakur on this one. But you cannot sleep on Lopez because he comes to fight. The fight that he shocked me was against Lomachenko. He came ready for war. And I think Shakur, he's starting to, get fights that are kind of setting him up for these mega fights, and he'll be prepared for that. I don't see Shakur beating Tank. I'm gonna tell y'all why. Tank, speed, and ability to get inside, I think is gonna give Shakur a lot of problems. But if Shakur could keep things in the middle of the ring, he should be fine. It's all gonna be up to what Shakur, how he wants to fight it. I wouldn't have him going on ropes again, and I don't blame him for moving more in his next few fights, because that last fight, he didn't move too much and gave us, we just wanted to see him fight, right? And we know he could fight, but
The showdown between Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson is expected to push Lopez to his limits. Analyst Henry noted that Lopez performs at his best when facing elite opposition, as his true potential tends to surface only under real pressure. Against a fighter like Stevenson, who blends speed, accuracy, and sharp ring awareness, Lopez will be forced to adjust quickly and sharpen every aspect of his approach. Henry explained that a fighter's ceiling isn't fixed, it's defined by the level of challenge in front of them. This matchup will compel Lopez to lean into his strengths while exposing any weaknesses, testing his ability to strategize and make decisions on the fly. Beyond physical talent, Henry emphasized that mental resilience and split-second judgment will play a major role in determining the outcome. As a result, this fight is widely viewed as a pivotal test of Lopez's growth as a boxer, one that demands the highest level only elite competition can bring.
Lopez needs opponents like Shakur Stevenson because they are elite fighters. He needs that to bring out the very best in him. I just can't see how it's possible that whilst Teofimo, we've seen a ceiling with him in terms of he's been beaten by certain opponents, we know that he can lose in the ring. But I don't know if that's a genuine ceiling, because I think that his ceiling is actually one of the most changeable in boxing based on who's in front of him. And so actually, I think there's a very, very good chance we're going to see the best possible version of Teofimo Lopez in the ring against Shakur Stevenson. But we should talk about Shakur Stevenson before we get into the nuts and bolts of the fight, what it might look like, and why it is so risky for both men. Now, Shakur Stevenson is currently undefeated. He's 24-0 with 11 KOs. He turned pro back in 2017. He's the same age as Teofimo Lopez at 28 years old, both men in their athletic primes. He's 5'8". I mean, these are on paper heights, so potentially a little bit shorter. He could even be a bit taller than Teofimo Lopez. I really need to see them next to each other to make that assessment. No lifts in the shoes, all that stuff. But around the same size is the most important thing. The difference, though, with Shakur Stevenson is he's actually a 3-weight division world champion, and he started a division lower than Teofimo Lopez, meaning naturally it would appear that he's slightly the smaller man. Although that doesn't necessarily mean they're now not the same size. He could easily have filled out to be roughly the same size as Teofimo Lopez is on the night in the ring. Now for me, I'm going to jump back to 2021 to first start talking about Shakur Stevenson, when he managed to get a win over Jamel Herring. Again, he'd had significant wins before this fight, but it was the first one where I really tuned into his career. Notable wins had already come against Joet Gonzalez, Jeremiah Nakathila, but no one that was really a household name. Maybe Joet Gonzalez. No giant names. Jamel Herring was the first one where I was like, I know who Jamel Herring is. He beat Carl Frampton. He beat Lamont Roach. This is a very, very decent operator. And what can I say? I mean, Shakur Stevenson just absolutely dominated him and TKO'd him in the 10th round of their fight. But this was a really, really landmark standout performance from Shakur Stevenson. The talent was there for all to see. Everybody could tell this.
Bruce Carrington has noted that Teofimo Lopez often has difficulty against fighters who move smoothly and constantly change angles. He believes Shakur Stevenson's mobility and ability to reposition in the ring could take advantage of that weakness, forcing Lopez to make adjustments in real time. Carrington emphasized that winning this fight won't come down to power or aggression alone, but to Lopez's capacity to anticipate movement and react quickly. If he fails to adapt, he could find himself exposed to counters and carefully set traps. From this perspective, the matchup becomes a test of Lopez's versatility, with Stevenson's dynamic style potentially setting the pace and shaping the outcome.
Teo is going to bring the fight. He's very athletic. He has a lot of explosiveness, but I do feel like when it comes to Shakur, bro, his movement may frustrate him. The only thing that worries me when it comes to Teofimo is his frustration. Like, is he going to be able to work well with a mover? We've seen, difficulties that he had with Sandor Martin. We've seen the difficulties that he had with Jimmy Ortiz, guys that's been moving around and not staying still. Like, if you keep Teo moving around and he can't plant his feet, what can he do? We're gonna have to find that out on January 31st. And I think Shakur, he's probably one of the best guys to, move his feet, be on defense, being hella patient and frustrating a fighter, bro. Like, so I don't know. We've seen Teo get frustrated to the point where he's asking himself, do I still got it? You know what I'm saying? We got to see what his mentality is going to be like come January 31st.
Do you think that his experience on the biggest of stages, his two biggest wins, he was an underdog, and both guys, ironically enough, were southpaws like Shakur. That play any factor to you, man?
Nah, styles is different. The styles are totally different. Lomachenko don't fight like Shakur. Josh Taylor don't fight like Shakur. I don't see, just because southpaw, that same thing will happen. I feel like certain techniques could be used to fight Shakur, yeah. But in terms of like that approach of the fight, nah. Like Shakur fights totally different. You gotta be able to do some out of pocket stuff with Shakur. You gotta throw while he's throwing. That's probably some of your only time.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for what's next.